Okay, happy Friday, everybody. Today's May 2nd. I'm John Weigell here with Mark Dent, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. McDonald's is not in a good spot. Like many fast food chains, the company is feeling the sting of inflation and tariffs directly from the strained wallets of customers. The Golden Arches has introduced new meal deals this year, but it may need a change in tactic to keep up. So how bad really is it, and what is Mickey D's doing to fix it? We'll get to that, but first, let's give you the news in business and tech. Starting off today, Kohl's hired a new CEO, and just 5 months after stepping into office, Ashley Buchanan was fired by the company for cause. According to a press release, Buchanan allegedly, quote, violated company policies by directing the company to engage in vendor transactions that involved undisclosed conflicts of interest. Big yikes. Next, over to Microsoft. Xbox increased the global price of its consoles and controllers 25% due to tariffs. And the Microsoft-owned gaming company also plans to hike the price of some of its new games closer to the holidays, kind of following suit with Nintendo a bit. What do you think about this, Mark, in the gaming industry?
I just think that the tariffs are going to really, I think, set in for people around the holidays.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be like the Christmas surprise, with Xbox here, with Nintendo, like you mentioned. Just on Wednesday, some of Donald Trump's comments went viral, when he was saying, get used to having $2 instead of, $30 for Christmas. And it is quite interesting. And obviously some of these like video games and video game consoles have always been pretty expensive, but always in very high demand. When you think of like toys, they've gotten really so cheap over the years. Even if you account for inflation, they cost less than they did like 30 years ago. But I think just overall, this is just going to be among the sort of price shocks that people will realize once they start buying these things in higher numbers, as they tend to do come, October, November, December.
Yeah, come the holidays. There's been that story floating around too about how Christmas ornament production hasn't really kicked in yet, and it usually does earlier in the year. So that's kind of another area of this too. But yeah, I think people are really going to set in around Black Friday time maybe, and the deals won't be as big of deals as they once were, perhaps.
There's going to be more rage on Black Friday than there usually is.
Oh,
and there usually is a
rage.
lot.
Yeah, so much rage, like a Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win over there. From there, we head to finance. Visa unveiled Intelligent Commerce, a tool that lets AI agents make purchases on behalf of customers based on their preferences. The announcement comes after a slew of similar launches in the field. MasterCard released Agent Pay, which integrates payments into customized recommendations, and this is the latest from Visa. So be prepared for your credit card to buy stuff for you. Don't panic, because I will. From there, we do more social news. Pinterest is now supposed to flag AI-generated or modified pins using a new tool that analyzes metadata. It's also working on another tool that can detect AI sans metadata, and another feature that will allow its users to filter out categories where AI manipulation is common. So Pinterest really putting up the borders against AI. And finally here, everybody's favorite canned ravioli or beefaroni brand, Chef Boyardee, was officially sold to a private equity firm this week. Brynwood Partners purchased the nearly 100-year-old brand from parent company Conagra for $600 million. Mark, another food darling falls to private equity.
Yes, another one bites the dust. And I feel like, this private equity story we've discussed so many times. It's just like, what new company are they going to buy next? And, Brynwood, this private equity firm that bought Chef Boyardee, according to the Wall Street Journal, they had Sunny Delight recently as well, but they sold it off for $1.5 billion. So they're at least making some of these companies that are iconic into, I suppose, valuable assets, at least in some cases.
Yeah, it seems that way. And I think they would probably take Chef Boyardee and do a similar thing that they did to Sunny D, which is take the company and make it more, quote, efficient.
Yeah, strip it of its parts.
Yeah, right. Strip it of its parts and sell it off as a shell of its former self, perhaps. So, yeah, that's what we have to look forward to in the future. But I hope the integrity of my raviolis are still untouched.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, on to our main story today in some more food news. So, Mark, McDonald's is underperforming this year, despite its best efforts, which isn't much of a surprise given kind of the fast food industry and how it's been going, which we've been talking about a lot. So, what's the situation, though, with McDonald's in Q1 of this year?
Well, the situation is that their sales fell for the second quarter in a row. Same-store sales were down about 3.6%. Which was the worst drop that they've had since COVID, basically, when people just like stopped going to restaurants. So that's pretty alarming. And I think what's even more alarming about it is that on an earnings call on Thursday, the McDonald's CEO told investors that the reason for these declines is simply that fewer people are coming into the store. And McDonald's, starting last summer and maybe even before that, their whole goal has been to get prices a bit lower to get people in the door. And so now they're seeing these bad quarters after there had already been really bad quarters. Yeah. So it's not like they're declining from the peak. They're declining from like the bottom of the hill already.
Yeah, they are. No, it's been a really tough few years for McDonald's. You know, we talked about the whole beef situation and how they're actually suing a beef conglomerate right now. And while that's all going on, the beef prices are skyrocketing. And the prices of their offerings have skyrocketed the past few years as well, too. And they did come out with that $5 meal deal in the beginning of the year. Thought that would gain them some traction, maybe get people back in the door as inflation rises and tariffs become a thing. But it seems like that didn't even work, or maybe not to the scale that they thought it would exactly, because, you know, their net income for the first quarter of this year is $1.87 billion. And last year, first quarter, was $1.93 billion. So not a huge destructive loss, but still not the direction that you would think they would be going in after introducing more budget-conscious deals like this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a worrying loss. And the part about those $5 meals is like, you need to just get a ton of people to buy them in order to like make a profit off of them.
Sure.
This one industry analyst, Mark Kalinowski, told MarketWatch that he estimated that McDonald's makes around 1% to 5% profit margin on that $5 value meal. 1% of $5 is 5 cents. That's not a big profit. And, you know, fast food in general is actually, you get decent margins, close to 10%, and certainly at least 5% typically. But you're getting a way lower margin on these $5 value meals. And so it's like McDonald's needs to have them because they have a large share of middle income and lower income consumers. And those are the ones who've really stopped going in as much, according to their CEO.
Yeah. And as you said up top, when we started today, you said that the foot traffic hasn't exactly been what it was. I'd be interested to see more accurate foot traffic numbers. Maybe they have some AI situation like Placer tracking that, but clearly not as many people are going to McDonald's as they were in the years prior. But, you know, let's shift to maybe some positive here. How do you think they're going to fix this? Is there a thing that they could do? Is there a thing that they've been doing that they should really lean into?
Well, we mentioned chicken strips last week.
Yes, we did.
You know, they're bringing those as a full-on menu item. People love chicken. It's usually a better deal. You know, you mentioned the trouble that they've had with beef at McDonald's. So that's one way, certainly. A lot of people, according to the Wall Street Journal at least, think that this next quarter might be better than the current quarter we're in right now. Because for one thing, they had this big promotion with Minecraft,
right,
which has been like a pretty popular movie and sort of cultural event for children. So there's all those reasons. But that said, I think that when you look at what's going on with McDonald's, it's just a portent of what we're seeing all over the economy, which is people dialing back spending. And if you're going to not spend at McDonald's, where are you going to spend?
Right.
I mean, a lot of people are probably starting to replace fast food meals out with like just things from the grocery store. Frozen pizzas is a luxury now that you'll indulge in because it costs $8 or $9 to feed 2 people, whereas you're going to spend $25, $30 to feed 3 at McDonald's.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we mentioned last time too, the convenience store purchases are also down in the US. So it seems that budget conscious shoppers are even more budget conscious than they've ever been. And McDonald's really has to pull out some stops to get them back in the doors. Yeah, you mentioned the chicken strips. They're also testing some new customizable drinks from Cosmix, a trial that they did a few years ago in 2023. So it seems like they got to change some products, add some new things to the menu, maybe take away some things in order to give people some new experience or some novelty to be able to walk in the door this year. Because low prices, unfortunately, don't seem like they're going to do it. It's got to be the interesting offerings going forward.
Yeah, I mean, the low prices, they aren't low enough for consumers, but they're too low for McDonald's in many cases, truly. When I, read this story this morning, it was funny because earlier this week, I just went down this rabbit hole when I was looking up things regarding fast food and profit margins and things like that. And as you may recall, John, McDonald's and Burger King, they used to have like $1 double cheeseburgers, right, as their value menu.
Oh, yeah, the dollar menu.
Yeah, the dollar menu,
yeah.
right. I mean, that's basically gone, but it was really funny because, and maybe not even funny, but really interesting that Burger King had the $1 double cheeseburger, I believe a bit longer than McDonald's did, going on into the early 2010s. And then all the franchisees were so mad at corporate Burger King because, we were talking 1% profit on this $5 value meal. They didn't even make 1%. They lost money on it.
Ooh.
It essentially had to become a loss leader for them. And it was just like this terrible deal. So like, I know people want prices to be really low at fast food, and they should be because everyone should be getting a good, cheap meal, I think. But that said, it becomes a dangerous value proposition for the restaurant.
Yeah, that's right. They have to kind of toe that line between how do they make a profit and how do they keep customers coming in the door. And it seems like there's no good price for that right now. Will they lower their prices? I don't know how much lower they can go without having what you mentioned, losing money.
Exactly. And getting lawsuits from franchisees.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, unless that's on the horizon, don't expect any big price changes, but maybe they can lure you in with chicken strips. I mean, they could do it for me, probably.
Yeah, could work.
All right, and that'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of HubSpot Media. Our editor is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. Go sign up at thehustle.co/email and follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily. We'll see you later, everybody. Have a great weekend. Building a business can be really lonely. That's why The Hustle is proud to be the lead sponsor of the 2025 OOO Summit in New York City this May. It's the flagship event built by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. You can join us for game-changing sessions from speakers like Andrew Yang, Ankur Nagpal, and Sahil Bloom, plus unmatched networking with fellow founders. The Hustle team will be there with exclusive merch and experiences that you won't find anywhere else, and you can click the link in the show notes and use code THEHUSTLE for $100 off your ticket. See you in New York.